Would you all go to work if, like, driving into work, you had like a stain on your shirt, like you spilled coffee on yourself? Would you still go?
I mean, I probably would.
I carry a Tide pen.
I'd be like, fuck it.
Right, like a Tide pen. I mean, it is that thought. If you're like, I'm all the way here, I'm going to do it. And I guess it depends how big it is. But you can have a Tide pen to take care of a stain. What if you had a hole, a large hole? Do you carry a sewing kit with you?
I do not.
Can you sew? I can't.
I can.
Really.
I can.
Okay.
But no, I don't carry a kit. But I have had my pants split at work before and I stayed. I just wrapped a jacket around my waist to cover my ass.
Yes, that old trick.
Well, so I had something similar.
What did you do?
I was driving equivalent. It took like, it was like 5 miles, but living in a big city with traffic, it took me like an hour to get to work. And I was like 2 minutes from work. I was driving up Piedmont Avenue in Atlanta and I was pregnant and I was wearing my nice pair of like maternity pants, which is like, I had one pair and I would wear them a lot. But I was driving and all of a sudden I'm like about to get to work and I look down and I hear rip. And I look and it was a large rip and it was like upper thigh towards like really upper, like big upper thigh, big hole. And I just remember looking down and being like, God.
Like in the crotch, like the inside inseam?
Yeah, it was basically getting towards the crotch. But it wasn't like, I guess it was false. Like I didn't have a jacket. I didn't have something I could take off to wrap around, for example. But so I did that thought in my head. And I remember thinking to myself, do I call my colleague and ask her? Like, do I call someone for advice? I was like, no.
For pants?
For just like advice. I'm like, I'm just going to go in. It's fine. But so I walked in, but it was like a large office building. And so I did the shuffle. I did like that like the Lego character, 2 legs together shuffle. And I walked through from the parking garage to that. And I realized I didn't have my key card with me. But I worked at the time, a radio company where the executives of it also owned a magazine company. And all of the like junior workers of the magazine company, it was like Devil Wears Prada because it was like luxury. And so I got 100% success rate of any time I didn't have my key card, being able to peg someone that was going up to the 23rd floor, whatever we were. And so I remember like following behind, like shuffling in, excuse me.
Everything is awesome.
Excuse me. And going there. But I remember all day waiting till the last second. Because also where we were in legal, we were right next to like the executive, level bathrooms, like the nice, whatever, the nice side bathrooms. And so like trying to shuffle them, who am I going to see? Or they judge but like I did that shuffle all day long. I could not have been more delighted to get home and put on a pair of fully non-holy sweatpants at the end of the day.
I would have been like trying to staple my pants back together.
I mean, yeah, I was like thinking of things
binder
like
clips.
I do think our assistant gave me like a hoodie or something at some point to like put around, and I'm like, I'll bring it back. I should probably still have it, but yeah. So it's like that's the problem with when you're in the office. So if your people are in the office, you got to deal with their real life. Like people are going to come in with holes in their pants. They're going to have shit spilled on them, and you got to do it because otherwise they're going to turn around and be like lit up in their mind with frustration.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was take your thighs to work day.
I would have gone home and changed my pants or stopped at a store or something real quick if like the commute was long, knowing that it keeps spreading.
It keeps spreading.
You know what I mean? To where all of a sudden you're like open crotch, like at work,
It was breezy.
It was real breezy. It was breezy in that office. I mean, I thought about going home. There was a
long commute.
Yeah, long commute. I'm like, I'm not going to drive back to Decatur. Oh my God. And I'm certainly not going to the luxury mall that's down the street where I'm going to shuffle through and run into like Usher, which you might do right there in the mall. Like, hi, can I take a picture? Like, oh.
US. So this brings up a good point because I have always in HR kept like a few random pieces of clothing for this very reason. So like even at my current place of work, I have a size variety of extra t-shirts from like a team function just in case. I even have scrub pants, and we're a corporate office, but like I have them just in case for this very reason.
Really?
I used to have underwear. No, for anyone.
God, Jamie, you're ultimate. Like Jamie is the ultimate, like HR is your friend person. Like she has her closet.
I do because of this very reason, because I've split my pants more than once, sadly. But one of the times I worked at Marriott, and I was lucky enough that we had dry cleaning for our employees' uniforms in the building. And so I was able to go downstairs and get a pair of pants to wear for the rest of the day.
But wait, hold on. Whose pants? Like, did you look at the name tag to see whose they were? To be like, whose pants do I want to borrow?
They were just extra.
I was like, because that's the question where you're like, whose pants do I want to wear? Like, put on your big girl pants, put on the CEO's pants for the day, the sisterhood of the traveling executive pants.
No, they were just extras. Now, did I leave my office that entire day? No, I sure didn't.
No.
Because they were like too big and I was like cinching them the whole time. But
ordered Jimmy John's, delivery.
Yep.
Give me an adult diaper for the day. I'll do it. Cannot leave the office.
I'm trying to think if I've ever had a wardrobe malfunction in my career.
I have a very big ass, so I think that's why I have that problem. You've heard the jingle bells, but have you heard the babble bells? They're the bells you'll hear when you're learning a new language with Babbel. Speak like a whole new you with Babbel, the language learning app that gets you talking with quick 10-minute lessons handcrafted by over 200 language experts. Babbel gets you talking a new language in 3 weeks. And because talking is the key to really knowing a language, Babbel is designed for real conversations. Wasting hundreds on private tutors is the old way to learn a language. Babbel's tips and tools are inspired by real-life stuff you'll actually need when talking. With a focus on conversation, you'll be ready to talk wherever you go. Did I take Spanish in both high school and college? Yes, I sure did. Is the only thing I remember "Donde está mis pantalones"? Yeah, that's where my pants, by the way. I'd really like to be able to say more than that in Spanish, and that's why I've taken advantage of Babbel, and it's been absolutely incredible. With over 16 million subscriptions sold, Babbel's 14 award-winning language courses are backed by a 20-day money-back guarantee, so your gift to yourself or a loved one is risk-free. This holiday season, give the gift of language with Babbel. And here's a special holiday deal for our listeners right now. You can get up to 60% off your Babbel subscription, but only for our listeners at babbel.com/hrbesties. Get up to 60% off babbel.com/hrbesties. That's Babbel spelled BABBEL.com/hrbesties. Rules and restrictions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with a Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Gosh, well, that is some hot goss. Thank you. Let's get the show on the road here because I know we have a hard stop today. First things first, Cringe corporate speak, and Jamie is on the hook for that today. And then we're going to shift into our hot topic of this meeting, and that is complaint department. HR as complaint department, and all things that may or may not entail. So we will discuss that, turn that inside out there. And then, of course, as always, some questions and comments at the end. So, Jamie, what do you got?
Run it up the flagpole.
Oh.
So I'm definitely guilty of using this. And it's typically when, maybe it's above my pay grade, which we have used before, right? But it's above my pay grade. So I need to run up the flagpole and make sure that my boss or whoever else is clued in and okay with X decision.
You need an approval.
Yeah, I need approval. Have y'all ever heard this or used it?
Definitely. I don't think I use this one personally, but I have heard it a lot.
Yeah, I don't use it too often. I definitely can hear myself saying it though. Like, yeah, let me check. Let me run it up the flagpole. Like, it does kind of sound like camp. Like, kumbaya. Let's see what I can do. Well, then what happens if it gets rejected? Like, nope, came back half-mast. We're gonna convert it. Sorry,
Ashley, I'm taking your job. So it became popular in the late 1950s and early 60s as a phrase that basically you're gauging idea, interest, or feedback with a larger group. And now it's considered cliche.
I mean, it's cringe is a better word for cliche.
For sure.
It's kind of cringy, but yeah. I don't mind it because I like Parent Trap, the original one with Haley Mills.
I've never seen that movie.
What?
No.
Jamie?
Yes, of course I've seen Parent Trap.
Yeah, original Parent Trap.
Oh, wait.
Not Lindsay Lohan, also fine, but no, the original with Haley Mills.
I have not seen the original.
I would say from like the I'd say 1960s, probably filmed in like the 80s.
Yeah, no. I've seen the Lindsay Lohan one.
Okay, anyway, it's a camp, and so it's, kind of like
Is that the one with the twins?
Yes, they get their parents back together. That's like a emotional support movie. Okay, anyway.
But also, how fucked up is it that they each took a child of the twins?
So fucked up. Like,
What?
so fucked up.
Wild.
That's a good point.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm going to run that up the flagpole.
There you go. Yeah, so maybe try and use this today at work. Oh, gosh. Well, that was very cringy. So appreciate that. I've definitely heard it. I've never used it, though. So it's probably for the best.
I used it just last week. Ooh, I did.
When you said it, though, did you make a little note to yourself to be like, I'm going to say this?
Yeah, I was like, I need to use this on the pod because I just cringed myself out.
Yeah, I do that. I
There
do
you
that
go.
sometimes. I say something, I'm like, ooh, and I probably make that face in real life. Ooh.
Like, oh, did I just say that? Who am I? Ugh.
Yeah.
I have those moments. Did I just say that? Oh my God, I hate myself. So we will run that up the flagpole today, and we'll try and drop it, right? I know Jamie will be successful. She'll drop it during the meeting at some point. But shifting gears to the hot topic, another bestie request, right, for a topic for the podcast is complaint department, HR as complaint department. And kind of what does that mean? Why does everything come to HR? If someone has a thought, it comes to HR. If someone has an issue, it comes to HR. Why is that? What is that about? OMG, all of the above, right? Have you had somebody ask you about being a complaint department?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're just viewed as the complaint department, right? Like, hey, the refrigerator isn't at temp. Okay. I'm sorry, what does that have to do with me? Or the vending machine took my money.
Sounds like a bad day, buddy.
Yeah, like, tell me, why did I have access to the vending machine money to give them their quarters back and have to write their name and the Skittles that they were getting? I shit you not. Or like, even like the toilet is clogged up.
And you're like, eat more fiber. That's what I'd say.
Not only are we the legitimate complaint department, right? So you're having a problem with Brenda in accounting complaint department or employee relations, but we are the complaint department for everything else because people don't know where to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I remember being at an organization once and they were like, we need to have a guide of who people contact for what, because people don't know who to contact.
Mm-hmm. They won't use it anyway.
Oh, I know, right?
Well, that's my thing. I was like, no, we have that. Like, we literally have that. They're like, no one knows how to access it. And I was like pulling up the first page of the internet. They're like, how do you get here? And it's like an executive. I was like,
Open up Internet Explorer. It's the intranet homepage.
Right. But it's like a chicken and the egg that I think a lot in HR that experience that you're like, you do things, but then some things you can't tell people about. But more notably on this, the other times you do things and you have information, like you're a figure it out department, a solve it department, a marketing department, because you're trying to get these messages out. And so the thing I do like is when people come to HR and are like, this is because often, that at least shows, it either shows, I guess, that they trust you, or they're like, I don't want to deal with this and I don't like her, but I'm going to add this to this person's stack. But I do think like a really basic thing that I think extremely from small to extreme. Actually, small organizations, I think, have a leg up, which maybe is corporate cringe speak. But that people can, when you're really small, you kind of have a sense of what people do. People do tend to have multiple jobs. In a large organization, people are like, there must be someone in charge of just this, when often people have all sorts of jobs. And so like this aspect of complaint is people don't know where else to go. And so, but that's also where I think like HR sometimes doesn't know. And so like, how can you make our HR like that phone operator to like tell things to people and also trust it's going to get taken care of? Because that's a hard part in HR is then if someone comes to you, like for example, like a bathroom situation or like a change situation, if somebody else is dealing with it, then it's hard because HR, like you probably don't have that much time to like go back to that person and be like, did this get done? And so people come back and they're like, I told HR and nothing got done about it. And you're like, just like you. I take care of what I can do. I communicate to others what I can't. And it's hard when other people don't do what they're supposed to do. And so for HR, it's like this double burden of people expecting you to do everything. And when you explain like, oh, that's not me, that's this person, I'm happy to communicate that to them for you. But then if it doesn't get done, they're like, Jamie, they're still, the water level's still low.
Yeah.
I'm doing my best.
I can't flush the toilet in the third stall.
So then you become the complaint department and the person they're complaining about.
Yeah. And next thing you know, I'm like, it's not getting done. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm good. And I'm walking in there with a plunger.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm not shitting you because like I can't tell you numerous times.
Pun intended.
In my career where, I get so sick of waiting on someone else and I hear the complaints that I just do it myself. You need me to change that halogen bulb? Sure, I'll do it. Fuck it. I mean, and I shouldn't. And then I know that.
I was like, that's enabling.
Yeah, for sure. But like, I think I just want to solve the problem and I want to make that person happy, which, I don't, maybe not necessarily a third stall, but you know what I mean? Like, I want to just fix the problem and move forward.
Hey, small business leaders, have you ever thought there's got to be an easier way to do all the busy work? Because I know I have. As a small business leader myself, wow, so many different issues pop up, don't they? Well, that's where JustWorks comes in, the all-in-one platform that supports small business growth. Access seamless tools that help with benefits, payroll, HR, and compliance with transparent pricing. It's time to make payroll painless. You can run your payroll in 90 seconds or less and automate payments so you can set it and forget it. Visit justworks.com/podcast to join the thousands of small businesses that trust JustWorks to take care of payroll, benefits, compliance, and more. That's justworks.com/podcast.
Notice how the days are shorter, but your to-do lists aren't? Power through your busy days with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. From breakfast to dinner and anything in between, Factor has easy, nutritious options to keep you fueled and feeling your best. Whether you like routine or enjoy mixing things up, Factor has you covered with 35 different delicious meals every week and over 60 additional convenience options that you can add to your box, like keto cookies, pressed juices, and smoothies. Don't let shorter days slow you down. Stay energized with America's #1 ready-to-eat meal service. Factor lets you do you. Choose from 6 menu preferences to help you manage calories, maximize protein intake, avoid meat, or simply eat well balanced. Because Factor meals are chef prepared and dietitian approved, you're going to love not only how Factor meals taste, but how they also support your goals. And check this out. Factor is cheaper than takeout and dining out. Put that money towards holiday shopping or reaching your financial goals. There's no sacrificing quality for convenience with Factor. Weekly menus offer ways to treat yourself like restaurant-like experience with gourmet plus dishes that feature premium proteins and seasonal sides like leeks, asparagus. How does truffle butter filet mignon sound? Amazing, right? I know, because I had it and it was delicious. Stay on your A game with quality ingredients you can trust and quality you can taste in every one of Factor's fresh, never frozen meals. Head to factormeals.com/50HRBesties and use code 50HRBesties to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping. That's code 50HRBesties at factormeals.com/50HRBesties to get 50% off your first box plus free shipping while your subscription is active.
I think that that's like the curse of a great HR person. Like I'm going to be honest, like we love solving problems. We love supporting people. We're very customer service focused, right? I mean, we just are, right? So we want, satisfied, not necessarily happy. Jamie wants you happy. I don't care if you're happy or not. I just want, make sure that, we reach some sort of solution or conclusion here, But I think this is where we get in trouble is that when everyone throws like their monkeys on our backs, right? And kind of the shit all comes to us. I think it is important to push back. To pause and be like, gosh, I don't own that. I don't know who owns that. Let's both try to figure this out. Or just, hey, that's that person. Can you go talk to that person, as opposed to you, HR, taking it and talk. You know what I mean? I think sometimes we do allow ourselves to be easy button like that. And I don't think it does us any favors to do that. I mean, I've been guilty of that 1,000 times. And it's only really been until later in my career where I'm just like, I don't know. And I'm thinking this, I don't have the mental, physical, emotional capacity to take on that weird issue. You know what I mean? Like, I just flat out, I do not know. Why don't you try so-and-so, right? I mean, I got to a point where I couldn't take on, fixing everybody's shit for them, and I do think that we teach people how to treat us. And so I think that that's important to, coach others to try and figure it out, fend for themselves. Some things are huge, like clogged toilets, that could shut your business down. Like, that's going to need attention, right? But you know what I'm talking about? Like the little bullshit complaint. Oh my God. It's kind of like, do not touch those people. Like, listen and thanks for sharing. Good luck.
I remember in one of the offices, was pre-pandemic, they would try to do a monthly clean out of the fridge because, once again, pre-pandemic,
That is HR all day.
And I was not in charge of it. It was typically our executive assistant who would send out the note, and then she would just throw everything away. But she went on leave, and no one, of course no one did it, because why? It wasn't of importance, right? Because it got done. And so then I was like, fuck this shit. I can't. Like, every time I go in here, there's someone moldy ass Chipotle from 3 weeks ago, or freaking, I remember avocados. Like, I literally thought the avocados could walk off in the dish. Like, so then I started doing it because, I mean, and no one asked me to do that, and that wasn't necessarily a complaint, but it's like little things like that you just start to like take over, because, and it's the ultimate burden of HR, that these things even fall on our plate, and I've told the stories about, where I one time went on my lunch break and bought 2 additional microwaves because people were complaining that they were waiting for 30 minutes to just microwave their lunch. And I was like, once again, problem solving. I'm just fucking going to Target and I'm buying 2 microwaves with my company card and I'm plugging them in. I'm not saying anything, And so I think a lot of the times it's, sadly, at least in my case, it's easier for me to quickly resolve it than even deal with the red tape. And that's what sucks so bad about like the corporate environment. But I also think it speaks volumes of what they think of HR, what people think of HR.
Especially when if you're in a physical location, you have a physical office. I actually think it's very important to have a role that is office manager, that is separate from HR, and have that person, because I do think, to Leigh's point, but I think the one thing of HR is you're going to get these questions in. So that's why I do think it's helpful to have in part of HR's, or ideally an office manager, thinking of some of these physical things like a light bulb, like this, who do we go to and who are contacts, having that in a document and always explaining the why and remembering. And as much as people are like, God, it's so annoying, why do I have to do that? But whenever people are coming to you with a problem, they're probably expecting that you're going to be like, get the fuck out of my office, like this. But if you say like, hey, look, we have this. Well, actually, I don't like to say look. Like, it sounds very harsh. But hey,
look here, asshole.
hey you. But say we have these resources so that you can get your answer quickly. And like, if I do it for you, it can turn into a game of telephone, and we want people to be able to get things done directly. And so, just like in your job, if someone asks you something, you could tell a colleague, but look, you're like, I can help you do it quicker. Yeah, that takes like 12 seconds, but it helps to level set and be seen as more human. And so people don't understand, like, having an office manager role and the person that does do the facilities works with HR to plan some of those team engagement things specific to the office. But as an organization, I do think it's an incredibly critical role that more and more organizations are cutting out, and then having often HR serve as, the office, adding office manager duties.
Yeah.
The junk drawer. And I think that absolutely, to both of your points, but Jamie, as you'd ended that, is it makes people think of HR as the complaint department. almost a self-fulfilling prophecy because you don't have the time to be strategic. I mean, when I talk to lean HR teams and they're like, we want to do manager training. And they're like, oh, I like your videos. I'm like, yeah, because you probably could put together like a lot of what I talk about if you had the time. You're not going to realistically, because then someone's like, the microwave's going to break. And they're like, wait, no, literally our microwave broke last week. And I've been like driving to Sears, like Jamie, and like that is the real life. And so for organizations and leadership, I think realizing that. And so again, for HR, just like you tell people of like, this is who you to go to for that, thinking about the things that you can do and that you like doing to help and putting that in the resource document. So you're not just the person to come to with other questions, but here are some of the ways I can support you, are some of the ways to help yourself, not just be the complaint department, because you're going to get that, but be able to, efficiently point people to other resources, but actually be able to have the conversations. If someone's like, I don't understand, like I want to ask for a pay raise, like when is the time to do that? How do I approach that with my manager? Or I'm interested in another role in the organization. How do I do that? Like a good HR person can help to have that conversations and guide them. And you'll have more time to do that if you help people help themselves.
I mean, I always look for the silver linings of things, right? And so, the positive is that if people are coming to you and sharing, that's wonderful. The fact that they're talking to you, they're opening up, definitely take the time to listen. You don't have to fix it. Like I said, please don't fix it if it's something petty or minor, but let them work through it and have the hard conversations themselves, But it's a good sign, because when you really have to worry is when people are silent, when you hear nothing. If people aren't coming to you. So whether it's complaints or compliments, which is rare, but that does happen too, which is lovely. It is a good sign. People, there's some psychological safety there. Like not all is lost, right? It's probably a pretty good environment, if people are coming to you, they trust you, they believe in you, they know that you can support, help, or at least listen, So it's that silence, man. That means you've lost it. You've lost the team there. You got issues if no one's talking. So I try and think of the silver lining. Okay, well, if everyone's using me as an easy button and the complaint department, wow, oh, I guess that's good. They're talking to me. Oh, let me try and make this positive.
I fucking hate this.
I know. Gosh, yeah, because there can be a lot of complaints, can't there?
And something Ashley you said was, there needs to be an office manager, but like I've worked in such small companies where HR was / office manager, and it's like insane that it's HR becomes the catch-all for a lot of companies based on size usually. So just be mindful. One thing I've done recently, and only for my own piece, is I will listen to you, I will hear what you said, and then I'll be like, hey, let me introduce you. And so it may be via email, and I'll copy you and I'll copy the person who's in charge of it. Hey, this person had a question about X. And then I'm completely out of it. I don't care if you don't CC me. I've introduced you to the person. I feel like I've done that extra layer of customer service, but I haven't taken it on as my own. But I also haven't just been like, oh, just talk to Judy in accounting. Like, there's a little extra layer. So I will say the last couple of years, especially in remote work, that it's been a little different. Like that's how I've been able to handle it, is still passing it off, but also being far removed from figuring out myself and not being Captain Save.
Well, and I think HR's role in some of this, and again, like that, I say sometimes the burden of HR is like, why do I have to think about these things? And some of it's because it's your role is people, and people have needs, and people are often going to assume you're out to get them, or you're just I was going to say canoodling. Oh my God, like no, you're like I don't know, like commiserating or whatever with the CEO. Like junior HR people are often like, the CEO obviously tends to be the highest paid in the organization. The HR, especially when you're looking at HR/office manager, often tends to be among the lowest in an organization. And so I promise you that role does not tend to be the henchman or henchwoman for the CEO's interest. And there's no secret bonuses or non-secret bonuses being paid out.
Yeah, I know.
But is to take that And whether you use it to grow in your organization, you use it to grow in another organization, but is to think about cross-functionally and what are the ways that you can address the issues that you hear. Because like, let's say someone comes to you with an IT issue and you're like, oh, it's the IT. Well, IT tells me to submit a ticket. You have choices of what you can say. You can kind of buddy up to that person and be like, fuck IT. Like, oh my God, I know it's so annoying. You'll never hear back. And so they're like, let's watch, let's sit with me and let's watch a YouTube to see how we can fix this. You can do that. It's probably going to take up time and you may not find the right answer. But so sometimes understanding that and saying the reason they have a ticketing is because they get these one-off requests and they don't want to miss something and they want to be able to figure out what they're getting. But so if you have, but that being said, if you're submitting a ticket and they're not getting back to you, that's also not okay. So I'm happy to have a conversation generally, not attributing anything to you, but to like figure out what's causing that for them. Because saying like, you never know what's on someone's plate. And again, bringing it back to that person that's saying this to you, saying, I'm sure there's things that I would be like, oh, why does that take more than a minute? And you're like, no, this takes weeks to do. I'm saying for IT, it can be like that. A lot of us, but I'm happy to have that conversation. And then talking to IT and saying, I'm sure if you have the ticketing system for a reason, what does that look like for response times and what gets in the way of that? How can we help it so it's actually meets its purposes? And that takes some conversations, but all of a sudden you have gone from being this like the office, like not two-faced, but like commiserating with everybody when they come to you and being like, yeah, they suck. Like, I feel good because everybody likes me. And I'm just taking that. Then I'm taking everybody's monkeys on my back, to being a strategic leader because you are explaining things, helping to drive long-term solutions, building relationships. That's what being a strategic leader looks like in practice. Even if you are at that far-off branch on the organizational tree that is the thankless job of HR/office manager.
Oh gosh, mic drop. I love that.
Yeah. And if you're not a strategic leader, then you're running it up the flagpole. So,
hey,
there you go. I was waiting for that. Peloton has a variety of workouts for whatever era you're in. Are you in your holiday era, running era, wellness era? Whatever era you find yourself in today, Peloton has the classes and motivation you need to get after it. Trust me, when I was in my marathon training era, it's been a few years, using the Peloton bike helped me increase my endurance so that I could successfully complete my first marathon. Whatever you need, wherever you need it, with Peloton's all-access membership, you can work out where and when you want. Whether you're at home on your bike, tread and row, or on the app at your kids' game, you can squeeze in what you need when you need it. Find your push, find your power with Peloton at onepeloton.com. It's great when you can get someone a gift they wouldn't necessarily get for themselves, isn't it? That little bit of luxury that they don't know they're even missing. For quality gifts at an affordable price, my go-to is Quince. Quince lets you treat your loved ones and yourself to everyday luxury at an affordable price. I have quite a number of Quince pieces in my closet. My favorite, though, is this totally cozy and comfy blush colored, a little hoodie. Oh, love. Love. Gift luxury this holiday season without the luxury price tag. Go to quince.com/HRBesties for 365-day returns plus free shipping on your order. That's QUINCE.com/HRBesties to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/HRBesties. Happy shopping. Well, until all of that happens, we'll just continue to be the complaint department, I guess. I think that we all have the capacity to broaden our roles a little bit and, teach others how to treat us and, look at things different, So I got a lot out of this, actually. I took notes myself, oh, okay, let me try that.
I know. I listen to all of our episodes, but I'll listen to this one as well because
I like it. So shifting gears, questions and comments, ladies.
I have one, which is like a minute before we started this episode. The ladies know this. Now, all listeners, you will as well. I had misread it and I thought it was compliant department. And so I was like, ooh, another one for employment law. But I mean, this is really sad because I said, I don't know if this is going to be that interesting. Like there's things to talk about. But it wasn't. It was complaint department, which was far more relatable and practical. But I laughed because I had mentally and actually prepped for compliant department. So come set up a time. I will have a fireside chat about being a compliant department. So enjoy. We'll put that in a season 70. That'll be the 1,000th episode, a very special episode, compliant department.
But compliance also something that falls on our plate, and we get the
HR a lot.
Yep, it does.
And we get those complaints on compliance.
Yep. And then we have to be the compliance guru.
Oh, I have a comment, if I may. Not a quick question, but just a quick comment. If you have a complaint, I would encourage you to pause and reflect on that and think if there's a way you yourself can find a solution for it. Like just take a second there. Instead of easy buttoning somebody else, can you solve it? Perhaps just with a conversation, even though it may feel uncomfortable. Could you have a conversation? Could you bring it to light? Could you make a suggestion on a solution? Could you do something with that instead of just pass that complaint just in and of itself onto somebody else? Because it is a lot. It takes a lot of mental energy. It is exhausting to receive everybody's just complaints. And we know what complaints are versus like real issues. And I mean, totally different. You know what I'm talking about? Nitpicky bullshit is what I'm talking about. Like, is that the right thing? Or could you come up with a solution and propose a solution instead of just dropping a complaint on somebody that receives sometimes hundreds of complaints a day? Just imagine just the emotional exhaustion of just hearing negativity from people all day long. That is some of our realities in HR. I've had those days, where it's like, fuck people, come on, and then what's the solution? It's exhausting and it hurts sometimes. It really does. So that's what I'd say. Whether you're in HR or whatever function, doesn't matter. You're a person of the world. Should you drop the complaint, and perhaps ruin someone else's day and suck their mental energy? Or, can you just think for 5 extra minutes on a solution or solve it yourself? So that's my long-winded comment there today. Jamie, what do you got?
We started this episode off with ripped pants, and I'm going to end it with a hobble heel. So when I was in the office, even still, I always wear heels. I'm a heels girly because I'm only 5'1". So I cannot tell you how many fucking heels I have broken and literally have had to
Oh, no.
or break the other heel of the other shoe. I swear to God.
Flats, like from heels to flat.
Yeah, like literally turn them into flats so I can survive the day. Matter of fact, when I was pregnant with my first child, I kept slippers because my feet would hurt. So I at least I buy cheap heels, let's be honest. At least I remember one time I broke a heel and I had my slippers at least. So I just wore my slippers.
Sounds familiar.
And yeah, same Sherm 2023, walking around the conference floor with Leigh in my big Yeti slippers. I respect that. But I'm curious where you break your heels, because the only time that's happened to me, which it did, was when I lived in DC. Like if you're in a big city and those grates on the sidewalk, like you'd of course have the option to just walk around them, but like clearly didn't figure that one out. Like I would get it stuck in there. Where do you break a heel?
No, see, it wasn't even like it was stuck in something. It just breaks. I think I'm a hard walker. Like, those little, I don't know, the bottom of the heel things.
Yeah. The little black
little taps, heel taps.
I go through those within 3 months. So I actually bought my own kit off Amazon and my husband helps me replace them.
Wow, like a cobbler. Okay.
Because I was going to this like local cobbler so often and he was charging me $10 for every pair of heels. And I go through them in like 3 months. So I think I'm just a hard
you're really
walker.
rocking heels.
You can get a membership, like a car wash, like one of those monthly car washes, like a frequent flyer or whatever.
Oh,
He was like, not this bitch
Oh,
again.
yes, this bitch.
Actually, no, I'm sure he's like, oh, it's on there real tight. It's real tight. Dude, it'll last you for a real long time. Next week. Oh my God, Jamie. Was he the one that told you you're a hard walker? Probably.
No,
He's like, this is my number one customer. Oh, you're just a hard walker. Keep doing you.
My husband always like, he could, when he's downstairs and I'm like upstairs folding laundry, he's like, I can hear you stampeding around.
But that was
there.
going back to that episode Leigh talked about where you had to, and I think you said this, Jamie, like, but you have to be mindful of how you walk in the office, because again, if people hear HR then they get nervous, or if they see the running.
And I'm a hard walker, so y'all better watch the fuck
You're
out.
You're going to get complaints on that. You're walking.
I also walk fast too, because I'm only 5'1", so I feel like I have to keep up with everyone. So I'm like,
I know that. I'm with you on that one. We were sprinting to keep up with Leigh's, very reasonable pace.
I walk slow.
You do, but we have to run to keep up, because you have the legs of a thoroughbred and I have the legs of a dachshund.
Oh, that's cute. Or corgi.
Corgi, yeah.
Cute.
Well, on that note.